Alrighty, everyone, back to Gamers Against Cancer 2026. I am still your host, Paige, but this is the final one I'll be hosting for today before I pass it over to your next host, who will be Tenek, or Tenaiq. Still not entirely sure how to pronounce the name, but it's fine. But before we get on to that, however, I feel like it's time to get to the next run, which is by I Like Baguette, which is Duck Life Battle. Take it away.
Hello everyone. My name is I Like Baguette 25 and today I'm gonna be running the Cliff Battle for the marathon. Yeah. So I'm gonna be explaining the run as I go on. Hopefully we're gonna have fun time with the game. So right as I'm starting the game, I'm gonna click on this button to erase my previous save and do this where I click to start the game. Then I reset myself, and that allows me to skip the beginning cutscene, which saves about 15 seconds. So this one is called Glitchless, but there are like a few tricks that I guess you could call glitches. It's more like major glitches that we're not gonna use. Um, I will probably talk about them at some point. But yes, so this game is kind of divided into, I would say, two main parts, which are the training, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm training my power stats, and then once we have a sufficient training, we're gonna participate in the battles, which there are 6 areas in the game. Every area except the first one has a tournament, and we need to beat like the final tournament in the final area to beat the game, as you could probably expect. But yeah, power, so this stat affects how much damage I'm gonna do in the battles. So this is pretty important, and I'm gonna aim to increase my power to level 20, which is the maximum you can do for now. Basically, there's a level cap for each area, where the first area there's a level cap on 20, then the second area, the forest, there's a level cap of 40, then when you get to the mountains, there's a level cap of 60, etc. And also in my task, why I start with power instead of anything else, that because in a regular run setting, I usually like power is very RNG based. You can win or lose like maybe like 10-20 seconds to it if you did like good or bad RNG. So it's very like, normally if I get bad RNG I would just reset, but obviously I'm not gonna do that in a marathon. Now we get to the speed minigame, and speed affects how fast we're going to attack in battle. Is basically kind of like, if you have higher speed stat, you can act before your enemies. Basically, it's kind of a very simple turn-based system, and I want to press the buttons that correspond to the color that this duck is like showing to me. And once it starts showing the doubles, I just spam every button because it's generally faster than trying to see what buttons you need to press and then saying, oh, like, yeah, I need to press that. And I do spam space as well at the end of a cycle to restart. Speed, there's also a bit of RNG involved. Yeah, and once I get speed to 20, I'm gonna get to the next mini game, which is defense. And defense is gonna be a bit slow, unfortunately, unlike the first two mini games. basically in farm, I'm trying to increase every one of my stats up to level 20. Because the farm, so the first area in which I'm in right now, has pretty good minigames overall. Later on, we'll get like different minigames for every stat. Get different power minigame, different speed minigame, etc. And not all of them are equal when it comes to like how fast you can do them. Some of them are really slow, so you really want to avoid them. But the farm is in general pretty good. Farm has the fastest speed training, it has the fastest special training, and the special training in farm is the fastest training just in general. I believe health is tied for fastest, and power is also, well, power is a bit complicated, but you could say it's in a certain way tied for fastest, but there's another minigame that's better if you have like, if you need to get like many levels, which you would see in the any person category. In the any person category, like with no restriction, you would skip directly to final area, and so you don't have to deal with the caps that there are of every area. And so in any person, you would just do a single mini game for each stat, basically, which is not as interesting. I did not see that coming. Defense, you can see it's very simple. I'm just using the shield to deflect these balls. And I'm using the mouse to aim the shield. And defense is one of the minigames here that don't scale with how long you survive. So it's always gonna be, as you can see, 10 XP per second in the top left corner. So even if I die, I only lose like about 1 second, maybe. So it's still a time loss, but it's not as bad as in certain other minigames, which we're gonna... I mean, power is the first minigame you don't want to die because it does get a bit faster as you go on. But yeah, defense is kind of slow, which is also why I do it after power and speed. As I said, power and to a certain extent speed are very RNG, so you don't want to have to do another like 3 minutes of defense every time you reset. Now I'm gonna move on to the health minigame. Also, I didn't explain what the stats do in the battles, but I would say that kind of self-explanatory. Defense reduces the damage you take during the battles, and health just is a straight up boost to your HP basically. Each level in health corresponds to, I believe, 10 HP, and you add 50 for the base HP you have. Even at 0 health, you still have like 50 HP. And I can see I'm gonna try to get as many of these coins as possible. In the early game, coins are very important for the routes, because you don't get that many coins, and you need coins to... First of all, you need coins to enter every tournament. And the first tournament, which is not in the farm but in the next area, the forest, is 10 coins to enter. Then 15 coins in the mountain, the third area. Then 20, etc. And then you also have the weapons and armor. Weapons are very important in this game because you deal almost no damage without a weapon, even if you have like maxed out power stats. Armor, I would say, is not as important, so we're gonna skip on armor for like the first two areas basically. We're just gonna get weapons, but at a certain point it will still become mandatory to have, especially for the mountain, which is quite like the tournament is not that easy, I would say. And also something that you're gonna see later on. So I guess I should probably not talk about it right now, but that's fine. The battles are mostly deterministic, and some that does not really like much player input. The only player input is like when you try to use special attack, which I will explain when I get to the battles. But yeah, the reason I say mostly is that some battles can be a bit RNG based. That's a common theme of this game, and I would say the live games. Alright, so I'll explain this really quick because it's gonna go by very fast. Basically, what I do in the menu is that I press the control pause button, and then I'm gonna just mash my mouse and spacebar. And normally, this game has a pendulum that you would need to hit when it reaches the green zone. But here, as you can see, the pendulum stays mostly in the center. So you can just spam and it will give you like a lot of points, which is why this minigame is so fast. So now we're gonna head to the shop. As I mentioned, like we need to buy weapons and later on armor. And we're gonna get the boomerang, which is probably the best early game weapon. And we're gonna equip it during the loading screen as well, which is something you can do. When the loading screen link up to a battle, you can still press the buttons that are the name is the inventory button or the start battle button. And the inventory button allows us to equip any weapon or armor we need to before like the battle actually loads and it saves time. As you can see right here, I did my special. You have to click when the circle gets to a certain point. Oops. Right, I'm having a bit of trouble with this guy. Yeah, you need to... Those 3 ducks that you need to battle in the farm, and they're gonna give you different quest items. And these quest items will allow you to progress on with the game. So this is the first RNG battle, as I said. So I'm gonna kill this guy in 3 hits. I'll get to KO this guy in 3 hits. Only. But sometimes he'll stay alive after 3 hits with like a few HP left. There is like certain RNG calculation to like the damage. I believe there are like 2 or 3 battles that are like that in the game. And if you can manage to... I mean, if you have to do like an additional hit, it's, I would say, about 11 seconds loss. Something like that. So yeah, not ideal, but unfortunately like not much you can do to prevent it. And there's still like plenty of time save elsewhere in the run. So I would say it's... I mean, it's not that bad. But as you can see, we're moving toward the second area, the forest. And this will have a very different training minigames. And we are not gonna do defense at all here, because the defense minigame is really slow. And so is the health minigame, but we still have to do it, because otherwise we wouldn't survive the tournament. The last battle in particular, the enemy duck is quite strong. Oops. As you can see, this has really weird movement controls, where if I press right or left, just a tiny bit, duck rotates around the basket, basically. So you're actually controlling the basket and the duck moves around, which is a bit counterintuitive and can lead to some unfortunate deaths, like the one I had before. Thankfully, like farm defense, a death only loses like about a second. And I got 2 deaths, which is not very good. But yeah, and as soon as I reach level 24, I head out and go to the power training. Yeah, 24 is the minimum at which you can consistently beat all of the battles in the tournament. 23 can work, but that makes it so that the last battle is RNG whether you survive or not, and you don't really want like have to reset when you're only like 15 minutes into the run. More than 15 minutes actually. So this power training is kind of interesting. Even though it looks like you're going faster as the minigame goes on, which it's true you're not actually getting any more XP, so it's kind of the same story where deaths don't really matter that much. But I still want to grab as many coins as possible. The next weapon, we're actually gonna buy like another weapon here in this area, which is a pie, and we're gonna want to upgrade it to level 2, and that costs like quite a bit of coins. So, and thankfully this minigame has a lot of them. So yeah, I just want to make sure I'm getting as many coins as possible and making sure I'm not dying too much. And that's kind of how this minigame works. Oh yeah, if you hit also the angle, one of these angular wooden branches, it sends you flying and you have no control anymore. So you want to not have that happen, basically. You have to click like sometimes a bit earlier than what you would expect. And yeah, we're almost to level 40, which is the maximum we're gonna get in this area. So yeah. And after that, we're gonna move on to special, which will require me to concentrate on the minigame, because special, there's gonna be these watermelons and these bombs that are coming at us, and we need to hit the watermelons with this sort of speed to gain XP. And if we hit the bomb, that's basically a reset. I mean, just the minigame reset, I mean. Yeah. So this minigame is actually one of the ones that gets faster as it goes on. So you basically need to do all of this in one cycle, which means that once I get to the higher speeds, I might not like commentate that much because I'll be focused on the game, basically. Trying to not die. Also, as I said, RNG is a common theme with this game. Those RNG, whether you get like watermelons or bombs. So if you have like really good RNG, you could get a bunch of watermelons in a row and get a lot of XP. And if you have bad RNG, you could get a lot of bombs in a row and not get anything. But yeah, as you can see, when it starts going faster, you actually have to be pretty precise with it. Also pretty fast. Remember about halfway done right now? A bit over halfway done. Yeah, because I just got a bunch of watermelons right here. That's good. And the next minigame is going to be a little similar. We're actually gonna train speed again. Kind of similar in the fact that I need to focus as well. So there's these colored balls that are falling into the two baskets, and these two baskets I control by using the left and right arrow keys. The left arrow key makes the left basket rotate, and the right arrow key makes the right basket rotate, and they always rotate in the same direction. So this one I have to press the right button 3 times, for example, which can get a bit difficult once it starts going like really fast and you need to press the same button 3 times in a row. And you also need to pay attention to what is coming on the other side. So yeah, that's a decently tough minigame. But it's also one of the ones that you can really like benefit from getting better at, which is not doing that. That's not getting better at the minigame. Yeah, sometimes you need to rotate like early sometimes, because otherwise you don't have the time to press the button 2 or 3 times in a row. But if you rotate too early like that, it just counts as a fail. So, and it resets to like slower speed. So that's possibly a like 10-second time loss. 5 to 10-second time loss, I would say, compared to getting the 1 cycle. And yeah, now we're done with all of the training in forest. Or I guess in the Duck Life community, we tend to say grass as for grassland, because grassland is an area that like there isn't a lot of other games. So you saw a glimpse here of those guy with like weird hair and a big wheel. And this guy is the Wheel of Fortune guy. And he has the potential. You can manipulate him to give you like a certain amount of routes. So let's say 100 coins or an item of level 4. And theoretically, you could save a lot of time. Theoretically, if you can manage to get the best weapon in the game, which is a 1 out of 64 chance, you could pretty much breeze through these few battles and push the save time in like grassland, mountain, or I guess forest, mountain. And he can also give you plus 10 or plus 20 levels, but the skill in which he gives you these levels is random. So theoretically, if you could get something like health or defense, which is pretty slow, to save a whole lot of time. But if you get, for example, special, it straight up makes the last, not the last, but the mountain tournament impossible, which is something I discovered while practicing for this marathon, actually. You can, like, fail to, like, the mountain tournament if you have more special than you're supposed to. And a lot of this route, which actually made like this route. Oh yeah, we need to talk to this guy, and he's gonna give us a jumping skill, and it's gonna allow us to access mountain. This guy is kind of important, like the story of this game, but we like don't care that much about the story. I mean, it's not amazing either. Okay, this is a guy that's supposed to be like sort of mentor. What am I doing? I'm doing mountain defense. Yeah. I don't exactly remember what I was talking about, actually. But I'll talk about this really quick, because this is kind of annoying. This minigame, you jumping on the trampoline, and you can control the duck to rotate him around, and you want to hit those rocks with the helmet. But if they hit your like unprotected body, you die basically. You have to restart the cycle. And it's actually the minigame while like the 1 cycle is completely impossible. At some point you will like take a death. There's gonna be like an impossible pattern or something that comes up. You can see start to get really fast now. But yeah. And the rotation physics are not the best, so kind of slow. So I have to kind of pray for the best. And I'm actually on a great cycle right here. It's rare that I'm doing that good. That just barely survived. actually. Sure. Yes, you can't control at all your jump height, or as I said, you don't have something like slam mechanics or whatever. Alright, so it's gonna be the first death. 14 levels in a circle is really rare to get, I would say. Because this minigame can be very unfair sometimes. Unfortunately, we have to do it for like 40 levels. So we're going from level 20 to level 40 because we skipped forest defense. Because forest defense is just that slow. It's really bad. And there's actually a lot of minigames in mountain we're gonna skip. Mountain health, I believe, is the single slowest minigame. So we obviously want to avoid it like the plague. And we also have mountain speed, which is not the worst, but the next area, which is the desert, has a much better speed minigame. If you're good at it, you can go like really fast. So we're actually not gonna train speed at all here. And we're not gonna train special either. That's what I wanted to say earlier about special. The main thing about this route, which I did, like, I was one to kind of reroute the run. And I rerouted like I think all categories. That was like a year ago. And the goal here is going to be to minimize special, which I mentioned earlier that farm special training was the fastest training just in the game in general. So, and the other special trainings are just not that good. We still did the one in forest because you need the levels eventually at some point. Basically, there's every tournament has a minimum total level you need to enter, and the second to last area can be a bit problematic if your level is too low. So that's why you get 40 special. There's another category which is no early fly, which is a bit similar to this one, but a lot of the minigames were played very differently. And in this category, actually just stay to 20 special. And yes, so what I wanted to say about the first minigame being the fastest in special is that actually you... In the very last area of the game, the city, you can... There's no new minigames, but you can play any minigame that you want across all of the ones from the previous areas. So you have access to a lot of choice, basically. And so what you want to do, basically, is keep your special level as low as possible to profit as much as possible from that really fast training. And now we're moving finally done with mountain defense. By the way, that was probably the craziest mountain defense I've had. I mean, it is because I've got a gold and I'm 50 seconds ahead from my PB. Which is also world record currently. So yeah, no pressure. So getting back to explaining the run, now we're moving to mountain power, which is kind of simple. You have this part of the floor that are falling, and then there are new parts of the floor that are falling back from up, basically. Yes, there are a few glitches in this minigame, namely this one where you have less... oh, nice. You have less platforms that you're supposed to. And there's also this one where one of the platforms kind of gets stuck, and so the game never registers that it has fallen, basically, so the game will never spawn any new platform and will never make anything fall again. And this is another one of the survival minigames where resets, deaths don't matter as much. but it's still nice to not have to do it. It's like you can save up to like 3 seconds. Oh, the coin just fell straight into the void right here. I mean, coins at this point are not as important. I mean, they're still important. But I would not say this minigame is the best play to get coins. You don't get that many of them. And this glitch, one of the platform gets stuck. I'm not sure exactly how it happens. I almost died here. So I can't replicate it consistently, but I know that it can happen. I'm not sure it's like pure RNG either. And that's another cold. So now we're gonna move on to the tournament. We're gonna ignore this guy with the wheel again. I could, if I wanted to, gamble for this run. I could try to see if I get like something like 20 health level, but that's such a low chance, and it can trying to get you can manipulate the wheel once it gives you to a certain extent, but it's still kind of limited. Basically, if you wanted to, you have like a reroll basically by using the controller button. Which I guess is another common theme of this game: controller inputs being completely broken. You saw that in the farm special minigame. There's like 2 other minigames which have weird thing with the controller pause button. There's also a whole glitch like which is called kill screen minigame skip, and we do this glitch in no early fly. It's banned in Glitchless, but yeah, and we do it in no early fly and saves about 10 minutes, a bit more than 10 minutes, 12 minutes maybe. Alright. The second guy here in this tournament can be kind of scary. It happened to me as well in my practice attempt for this marathon that he had 1 HP left at the end, and I died. And that like a loss of like a minute. So very, very bad. It would basically kill the run. I should probably talk about the equipment we get as well here, because it's kind of important. We get this spade, or we tend to call it just a shovel, because it looks like a shovel. And the main special thing is that it didn't stun enemies for a certain period of time, and that's basically the thing that allows us to get past this tournament. We stun the enemies to avoid the most dangerous attacks. And the raincoat and the rain hat. This one really wants me to use the wheel, right? I want. Raincoat and the rain hat gives you a huge bonus in protection against water attacks. And the first and the third opponents of the mountain tournament use water attacks. The first guy is not that bad, but the third enemy duck can be like really tough. So that's why this route uses weapon, not weapon, armor with water protection. Right, we're to the desert, which is the main area where like someone can live or die basically, but not in this minigame. This minigame we have to defend this ancient building from bombs that are falling from the sky with a chewing gum catapult. I'm not sure what this is. Like, let's say really like want it all with the creativity here. But yeah, I'm basically just aiming at these different things that are falling. The bombs on the coins. The coins reward you with XP as well, so it's worth to go for them. And the bombs are going to fall faster and faster as it goes on. And also the building can take can take hits, but you don't get any XP if the building takes hits. And also if a bomb falls on the floor, basically, on the ground, it's not floors, it's just sand, you lose, basically. So yeah, this minigame, I'm just trying to aim for all of the bombs. It's not the easiest, but with a certain amount of practice, it's not that bad. Yeah, desert is definitely the most fun area for me. There's quite a variety of minigames to do, except for the one we'll do just right after defense, which is gonna be, well, you'll see. It's just gonna be basically 6 minutes of pressing right. Okay, we're not exactly here yet, so let's just focus on the present, the current minigame, and right, that's end of defense. So on health, we're going from level 24, because we never increased it since the forest, all the way up to level 80. And this health minigame is actually the tied for fastest with the farm. It's kind of the same, except you can survive for longer, so I guess it's actually faster. In theory. I mean, it's just faster. So basically there's all of this stuff that's falling from whatever this is. And you can press left to attract into like coins, but it's kind of worthless and they go toward you anyway. Or you can press right to throw them into the trash, as I say. And mainly the bombs, you want to throw them in the trash. Because if they get to you, you, as usual, you die, so have to reset, and it's like a 1 second half loss. And you can actually survive really long. Theoretically, if you just set up some sort of auto-clicker that presses right forever, you would theoretically be able to survive like forever. But I still want to get as many coins as possible, because I'm gonna be getting, basically for upgrading weapons later on. Later on, I mean in this tournament, basically. Desert, and also for Swamp. And here, sometimes I'll press right and it doesn't really register well, so I take an unfortunate death here, but that's another survival-based minigame. Don't get any more XP for surviving longer. So that's pretty much it. I think if there are any donations to read right now, it would be a great time to do so, because there are about 4 more minutes of doing this, so yeah.
We don't have any donations to read. However, if people would like to donate, feel free to. You can find the donation link in the pinned chat in the comment. You can also find it in the, I believe, the about section. Yep. Or you can go to, you can copy the link and go to the thing. Or you can just type in, if you would like to, https://gamersforhope.com/donate, and feel free to donate. You can donate with a name, you can donate anonymous, you can also donate with a message. I don't know if there are currently any incentives. Oh, did we actually hit that? Let me double check. I don't think we have. We haven't. We're about, so pretty much we are about the last milestone we have. We're about $300 and something away, $300 and something away from it, which is a live buzz cut. Now, if you haven't seen that before, you can go and actually find the first one on our YouTube channel. And if you want to see that live again, definitely get those donations in. But yeah, back to you.
Yeah, thank you for the intermission. So I think we can get about what's coming up. We can talk about what's coming up next in the run. So after I'm done with this sitting around and pressing right, there are 2 of the most skill-based minigames probably the two most skill-based in the game. So it's gonna be a bit intense, I guess. There's a desert power in which we have to play volleyball against a bunch of enemy ducks, basically. Which actually I can talk about it because I have a bit of time. I said earlier that farm power could be tied for fastest, but it's only true if you do like 20 levels at a time. This volleyball minigame in desert, it goes basically every time you beat a duck, it gives you more XP for both staying alive and for getting goals. So in any percent where we skip directly to the last area of the game with a glitch we call early fly, which we're gonna see soon, but basically, yeah, very soon after we beat this tournament, then I get the ability to fly to any of the 6 areas or any of the 5 areas. City normally locked, but there's another glitch called early city, whereby just using a controller button, welcome back controller buttons, just using the controller to select the city, it still works. So yeah, you can see that a lot of care and attention has been put towards controller controls in this game. But yeah, so that basically in any percent you do the volleyball minigame just for like going from straight up from 0 to 100 because city has no cap, or I think it has a cap of like 999, but you wouldn't ever reach that without like wanting to spend a lot of time on it, because every level past 100 you can still train past 100, but it takes 10 times longer. So basically training to 110 would be equivalent to training 200 regular levels. I'm actually about to get to level 80 for health. So yeah, we're actually going to see the volleyball minigame very soon. Right here. I'm trying to switch to controller, which is just personal preference. You can play this minigame with keyboard just fine. However, there's another trick you can do with the controller pause button. I don't know if I'll have the time to have the opportunity to show it. If you spam the controller pause button over and over, the volleyball basically will still move, but the enemy duck will be stuck in place. So for some of the very later ducks that you would meet in any percent basically, because here you just get 20 levels. In any percent you get 100. So you see really high level ducks that go really fast, and so you can mash the pause button to stall them in place, and that just makes getting goals easier. I guess I can explain how this minigame works. So you can see the level on the top of the screen. Right now the duck I'm facing is level 12. And so every second I'm alive facing this duck, it will give me levels times 2. So for 12 that's 24 XP per second. And for a goal it's gonna give me level times 10. So for level 12 that will be 120, and for the level 50 goal here that's gonna be 150. And I see that I'm about to hit level 80, so yeah. That was actually another gold. Right, so speed is the most skill-based minigame. You hold down, and it's gonna make you faster on slopes. I have to change the place of my speeds to do this minigame, otherwise I can't see my duck. Holding down, well, pushes you down, and it also makes you faster if you're on any slopes. And it's very difficult to master. you can go to insane speeds if you're like pretty good at the game. And I did practice it quite a bit, but unfortunately I don't have as much of the skill right now as I used to at some point. I mean, recently, to be fair. I started pressing recently, and it's actually kind of insane how important desert speed is to the run. You can shave like, I would say like 1 minute, maybe even 2 minutes between a bad desert speed and a good desert speed. And something I haven't mentioned in the previous minigame, Desert Power, is that if you die, that loses a whole lot of time because you go back to the early level ducks that kind of suck, you know. And yeah, it's just really bad. You lose potentially like to over a minute if you don't get the one cycle. So I'm not getting good desert speed. I keep losing all of my speed. And dying, which dying is, I guess, not that bad if you have no speed. One other thing about speed is that it is, no matter how random it looks like, it's actually completely consistent. The pattern is the exact same every time you go through it. I mean, the whole generation. And it's something that was theorized by another runner in the community, Snivy. And I actually checked just straight up the code of the game. And yeah, there's no random function used to generate. So it's always the same pattern and it repeats as well. So the beginning I have memorized how to do it. And yeah. I was kind of getting a good amount of speed at some point here, but yeah, I just lost a bunch of it. It's very easy to lose all of your speed here in this mini game. If you keep landing on upward slope like that, it's really hard to judge where you will land. And that's like one of the main difficulties. Not just of this minigame, but just of the entire run. I would say desert speed is just what would make the difference between a good run and a great run, kind of. My PB actually had very good desert speed, and as you can see, right now I'm on level 72. And right now, in my PB already finished, like desert speed. I got to relate it. And I'm actually on a good cycle, which I'm going to take advantage of. If I can. And here we go, done with to level 80. So here are just right here. That was not even that bad, but I still lost 30 seconds. And yeah, desert speed is, I guess it's like, yeah, the most interesting part of the run. Well, this was most stressful because like, will I do well? Will I do poorly? Will I do trash? Yeah, we're fighting this random duck in a clown costume because we want his weapon. For beating him, it's gonna reward us with his weapon, which is the water gun. And the water gun at this point of the game is really, really powerful, especially if you upgrade it. That's what I wanted. None of the other weapons that you can just buy from the shop are as good as this. Actually, I'm just going to spam to skip the special because I know we don't need it. Yeah, he's gonna give us the water gun. And now we're gonna move on to the actual tournament. You can see after the tournament, we're gonna get the fly ability. I mentioned earlier the early fly glitch, which allows us to get access to the fly menu before you actually unlock it in this tournament. Basically, when you go out of a training center and you spam where the fly button would normally be, you can actually bring up the fly menu. But it's also really difficult. I'm sorry, I was just getting some water for a second. I don't know, this so that with just 12 HP, that's an 11-second loss. Something like that. Yeah, from now on the tournaments won't be as difficult or interesting as like the mountain one or even the grassland, forest one, I mean. Just have 3 ducks, not the best. They deal kind of pitiful damage. And we just completely breeze through the entire tournament with our water gun. And yeah, that's the flight ability I talk about so much. I'm moving on to the swamp. And swamp training is gonna be not gonna take too long. We only have 2 trainings to do. And we still have to do them because of the aforementioned level limit for entering tournaments. For swamp, I believe the minimum level is something like 480. We get 200 plus 40 plus 2 times 80. No, 420, right? I can't remember, sorry. But yeah, we do still need to train defense and health. Defense is not really very fast. We only get 9 experience per second. And the main mechanic is that we want to push these bombs in the water. If the counter reaches 1, they explode and you lose. And those are coins that are falling all over the place. And the coins are solid, as you can see, so they can prevent the bombs from moving towards the water, which can lead to death, like this. So in this game, money is not the answer to everything, I guess. But yeah, we do that until level 100. 100 is the cap, level cap from swamps, so we can't get more than 100 in any given statistic. And yeah, I don't have much to say about this game in particular, other than I'm not that good at it. I mean, no, I'm actually kind of decent, it's just that I don't know why I let that bomb not like explode here. And sometimes it just generates borderline impossible patterns, so doing it in 4 cycles is kind of the best you can do. I can actually talk maybe about the other categories. I talked about any percent a bit on how we use the early fly glitch and early city as well. I didn't talk about no early flies that much. No early flies, as the name suggests, you don't use early fly, kind of expected. But we use aforementioned kill screen minigame skip. I'm not sure if I can say this on screen, but there's certain abbreviation for it. I didn't make this up. I'm gonna say kill screen minigame skip for now. Which basically, if after you die on a certain minigame, oops, you can press the controller button, welcome back, to pause, the pause, the control button for pausing, and then you close where the pause window would appear. Like normally that's the button to close the pause window, and you click where that spot would be in the, like normally if you just want to pause, and then you just start getting XP on the kill screen, which is why it's called kill screen minigame skip, and you don't replay the minigame either. So I'm actually going to do a bit of a break to talk about this. This minigame is completely broken on earlier version of the game, which is actually a down-patched version. And there's just like no level generation at all. So if you just hold the right key, you just keep getting experience. And it's actually decently fast for health minigame. So that's why we do it as well here. Yeah. So going back to the kill screen minigame skip, basically you sit on the kill screen and you get XP by just sitting there. So I guess it doesn't make, it's not as interesting as a showcase for a marathon like this. But it's still, I would say, a fun category. There are a few minigames that are actually faster without the kill screen minigame skip. Those are namely the forest special and the forest speed minigames that I kind of talked about earlier because of how stressful they can be to get one cycle on. There's desert power. There's also farm power, I believe. Farm special. So there's still a bunch of minigames that you do normally, but it makes some of the sort of boring parts of the run, like farm defense, pretty much any defense or health minigame to be fair. Those parts are just less annoying to do. I mean, there's not less annoying, you still have to wait for them. What I mean is that you don't have to wait as long, because kill screen minigames is faster in that case. Get more XP than if you were to survive normally. And we're already heading to the Swarm tournament. We're gonna upgrade our water gun to the final level, which is level 5. And we don't upgrade our armor at all. Something I mentioned earlier is that armor is not that important. I was doing some testing, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago or something, and I randomly got the Grand Tournament crown as a reward from the wheel, which I also mentioned earlier. And that's the best armor in the game. Straight up, it gives you like something like 55% protection, at least it says that it gives you 55% protection. But in reality, the difference is like barely noticeable. I think the main reason why we care about the raincoat and rain hat specifically is that they protect you against water by like 50% each, apparently. That puts them up to 100%. And I don't know if the protection is actually 100% because, as I said, like 55% protection is actually kind of a lie. But yeah. And here I might save like 11 seconds because I managed to not have the annoying thing where one of the enemy ducks survives with just 1 or 2 or like less than 10 HP. And this final duck, normally he's like really strong, but he's weak to water, which is why in my route I actually keep the water gun Also, nice difference to Duck Life 3 if you're a fan of the series. Previously, people did like the slingshot quest, basically with that new weapon. The slingshot's actually a really good weapon, and it can also randomly stun enemies, but it's random. It was like a 1 in 4 chance, I believe, of it being a stun, and 3 out of 4 being just a strong elemental attack. Now finally, we're going to the city, to the Grand Dojo, and here we can play every minigame in the game, as I mentioned previously. So we're gonna start by training up our power level. Power training for Swamp without kill minigame skip is extremely slow, as is speed. Special, I believe, is... I don't even think you can do kill minigame skip in speed, and special is really slow either way. So power, special, and speed are going the one we want to train, and here I'm gonna actually demonstrate this, where by spamming the pause button I prevent, hopefully, this guy from having a shot at me. So it's a time loss because there are like a certain amount of time that you have to spend spamming the pause button. Oh my god, why am I getting so shots that are so bad, and also why I'm getting the ball back? Top. I'm actually kind of stressed because I'm still like 58 seconds ahead, and this is gonna be like, I would say at least 20-second time loss. Oh my god, why am I so bad at this game? Alright. That's 3 times in a single cycle is extremely bad. But we're actually not that far from the end. And for the... I guess it's not as bad as I thought. I'm sure I just dribble for a bit. I only lost 10 seconds. Just dribble for a bit because it's not worth going for like... So... Yeah, same. Like going for a goal where could potentially lose time. And here I'm doing farm special again, as promised. I'm going to do it for like maybe 45 to 50 seconds. A bit difficult to know precisely what to aim. How long to do it for? I'm probably going to close. Oh yeah, I'm have enough. So 1-1. And now we're finishing off with speed from the farm again, which is the fastest speed minigame. But still, desert would be the fastest, with all that talk about how it's the most skill-based minigame, but actually no, farm beats it still. And we still have to press those buttons, and we still spam every time there's a double that comes up. We just spam every button and hope for the best. I'm actually getting kind of decent RNG here. And you have to stay focused to not hit the wrong button. It's very easy to hit the wrong button. I could actually just stop to level 99 because I got level 101 special. And that's actually what I'm gonna do. To just squeeze every bit of time save I can. The last tournament is not even a competition anyway. The Ducks are like... They don't have a single chance. Which we're kind of talking with other people in the community, like how the last tournament is so anticlimactic, and in a certain way, the last plot-relevant battle is the battle against the mentor guy I talked about for like 1 second and then never again, because this is more like an inconvenience or anything. You have to, oh no, I missed a special. Bad. I had my hand off my mouse for a second. It's gonna be like 10-second time loss maybe. That's fine. That's still a easy PB/world record. All of that was carried by good mountain defense. Anyway, last month the mentor guy, like, he, after you beat the city tournament, he basically like he wants to fight you, to, like, prove that you are become like the champion or whatever. And I believe he gives you like a really good armor or something at the end. But that's not actually required at all for like finishing the game. You just like post-game stuff, so I don't really care about him. And alright. We just won the tournament, and time is gonna stop as soon as the crown reaches our head, right here. 105.08 from my timer. Definitely, like, yeah, that's, I know that's more record and personal best, but yeah, good run overall. So yeah, thanks so much for all of the gamers against cancer, sorry. People for having me here, and yeah, I'm gonna give commentary back to the host. Yes.
Alrighty, thank you for that run of Duck Life Battle. Always a great game to see. Alrighty, well, that is it for my hosting shift/duties. But I'm going to pass it on to 10IQ, who is going to be doing some hosting for the next one, which is going to be Pokemon Crystal by Pro Poke Noob. That's a lot. That's a bit of a mouthful. But yes, so I shall see you all later.